Hi guys, this is Lashette from Scarlet Moon Creations, and I am back. This is my mid-April wrap-up where I talk about the first half of the books I read in the month of April, and half roughly of the things I read for the 30 and 30 manga challenge, which I didn't plan on participating in exactly. Okay, so I know April is usually one of those months where I'm like, I'm doing all of these read-alongs. I didn't have it in me. March didn't quite go so well reading-wise, and April, the first 3 weeks, didn't go great. I didn't read anything. That's not true. That is not true. Before I continue, I'm going to talk about what I have been reading. I've been reading a lot of nonfiction, and they're not going to go quickly. They're not, I'm reading them piece by piece on purpose. For example, I'm reading tarot and astrology as part of the Decan Walk 2023 to 2024 that I am participating in, and various other tarot tubers are as well. My channel is not just bookish content. If you're unaware, I fully understand that everybody that watches my channel is not going to watch all of the things, but I'm reading the ebook of tarot and astrology, and it's really good. It's just for the Decan Walk, we're going through the 36 decans of the tarot cards. My decks are behind me, as always, in these videos. These are the minor arcana, and 10 days we focus on one, except if you're me and you focus on also the 2 major arcana cards that influence it, whether planetary or astrologically, and you also throw in your astrology study on top of that. So this is a year-long process. I have read a good chunk of tarot and astrology already because the intro sections and things like that. And like I said, I'm studying 3 cards every 10 days rather than just the one of the 78. Another book that I am slowly and have been slowly reading since last year is this one, From the Cauldron, Born by Christopher Hughes. I'm kind of stalled, but I am still working through it. Again, pagan, witchy Welsh mythology, exploring the magic of Welsh legend and lore. This is whenever I pick it up, though I am doing the exercises and the year-long ritual that's in this. So as far as just like straight reading, I'm about halfway through. I just need to get back to just reading the chapters because I'm almost caught up on the exercises. But I'm thoroughly enjoying that. And I'm also doing the slow read that is of the 1619 project that was created by Books with Brandy Shanae. And I could read the 1619 project faster, but with these other 2 books, I'm kind of like studying things, and there's definitely other stuff that I'm reading and listening to. I'm not in a rush. So that's what I have been reading, slow reading, getting through, the fan fiction aside. So let's talk about the fiction. Okay, 30 and 30 manga challenge. I was like, I'm not sure. I have a stack of manga as well as a stack of regular books from the library that I need to get to, but I'm not sure. And yeah, I was not sure up until like April 15th. And I picked up and finished Volume 9 of Children of the Whales by Abby Umeda. This is not new to my channel. This is the library edition, though I think I read this volume digitally. I accidentally requested the physical copy from the library. There's a couple of volumes midway through the series that the digital copies are not available of, and then was a couple that were not available digitally that I requested the physical copies of. And to be perfectly honest, because this is how I grew up, I prefer reading physical It's just that sometimes I like to read myself to sleep, and you know, having a digital copy helps in that manner. But I think, particularly with this manga, having reading it physical is better. It's just not how that's gonna go for the rest of the series. Anyway, this is a shoujo manga series for a fantasy, and we're following the children of the Mud Whale, which is the ship that sails on the Sea of Sand. These children and the few adults on their ship, they only know this ship and the Sea of Sand. They've never seen another person or a human being or life or anything until one day they come across another ship that seems to just be stranded in the Sea of Sand. And on this ship, they go exploring and they find this young girl who is just like, oh, there's another human being. And they wind up befriending her and bringing her onto the ship. And from this moment on, things start to happen. They start finding out things about their ship, about why they're on the ship, why the ship is on the Sea of Sand, why they've seen no other people, what the wider world is like. And it's crazy. There's a magic system that's really interesting in this series as well. I gave this volume 4 stars. We're picking back up with the overarching plot line here. They get somewhere for the first time ever, which is interesting. There were surprises in here, and I was like, So we got some, like I said, reveals for the major plot line, the overarching plot line, but also like the recent, I guess, arc with this. What is he? A duke? Sir Rochalizo, and that arc. I was surprised. I probably shouldn't have been, but I was. So next, I read again volume 10 of Children of the Whales, same series. This one I gave 4 stars as well. Yeah. Continuing the story, action heats up here. There are some decisions to be made. The marked are put in a bind, I guess you could say, and they have to make some really hard choices. And they basically decide to make all of them. But yes, these covers are gorgeous as well, by the way. I also want to say another antagonist character comes back here, or 2 actually, and it's like, Alright, so next, I didn't actually finish next, but I'm going to talk about it next. It's Nana Volume 1. I mentioned this in my Spring Has Sprung tag video. So I read it in April. I had this on hold since October. And it finally got into my hands. So I need to return this because I know the next person is like, I want to read it. And this I picked up on recommendation from Ashley of the Bookish Realm, and this is like a slice of life manga. It's a shoujo manga series, but we're following 2 women named Nana who live in Japan and their lives. It was intriguing. I gave it 3 stars. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but I am interested to see where it's going to go. We're following Nana Komatsu, who is a young woman who loves falling in love with men and seems to not know how to take care of herself. Like, she's not a childlike person or baby, but she's got a very dependent personality. Even without a man, like, she's very dependent on her best friend. So she's recently broken up with a guy who was actually married. And so she's trying to reset, I guess, after that heartbreak. Then we're also following, Nana Osaki, who is cool, confident, poised. She's the lead singer in a band. Her life seems to be on the up and up, but her boyfriend who is also the guitarist of the band gets a shot to be in another band who is already signed to a label in Tokyo. He's gonna take that chance, and Nana decides to end their relationship because they can't do long distance, or she can't do long distance, or whatever. They're both hurt, but her section was shorter than Nana Komatsu's, and then we get a little blurb from the first Nana's friend, so that was interesting. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen now. We've kind of left off with cliffhangers, as happens in manga, but yeah, this didn't blow me away. It's what it says on the tin. Next, I'm going to talk about the books that were I believe, April picks for the Realm of Comics book club by Ashley and Locked Booktician, Bree, which was to read March. And they come in my library as 3 separate parts. So I'm going to talk about them as 3 separate parts. March is a graphic novel book series by John Lewis, Andrew Aiden, and drawn by Nate Powell. Yeah, the artist is Nate Powell. So John Lewis is a historical figure in the United States. He's only recently passed away. He's known as, I guess, one of the big 6 or whatever for the African American civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s. The big 6 are the 6 men, black men, who spoke at that march on Washington. And yeah, so John Lewis is the youngest. I admit, I did not know a lot about him. This was the perfect way to learn more about his life for me, and also about exactly his history with the civil rights movement in this country. I was going to say it blows me away how much I didn't know, but it doesn't really. Part of it is, this country is built on racism. It is what it is. And also part of it is just the education system is crap and hit or miss. Also, lastly, history. These are things that were happening towards the beginning of television, and a lot of what we're bombarded with now probably would have been a bigger deal if we had the internet back then, but we didn't. And I believe it was mostly black and white TV still, so, or at least at the beginning of this time. Don't quote me on that. But the big thing in this one is the starting of the SNCC, which is there are so many acronyms, like literally so many acronyms. John Lewis was young when he knew he wanted to be a preacher, and how he wound up in the civil rights movement, which is why he was the last of the big 6 left alive. He passed away in 2020. What is, I guess, pushed, at least in schools, is that, Martin Luther King was like the herald of the nonviolent side of the civil rights movement, versus like Malcolm X, who was all for the fight back violence and that kind of thing. Yeah, everybody else was secondary unless they were women, and they were like tertiary or whatever 4th place is. It's the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. I should have known, but I wanted to make sure. And so in this one, we go over his childhood, where he, I guess, kind of got the impetus to want to be a preacher, and then the whole nonviolence thing, and the creation, like I said, of SNCC. What I'm seeing for the first time, because I don't know how I would be. Do I fall into the category of nonviolent or violent when we're talking about physically, and fighting for my rights, for my people's rights, for other people's rights, particularly when we're talking about racism. And that's just real. Like, learning their tactics, specifically how they practiced and had mock sit-ins and things like that, really, solidified and my respect for them, because that's hard. That's another type of discipline. That's another type of strength than just physical and still overwhelming the opposition, overwhelming all these white people who kept them segregated and did not want to serve them food at the counter or let them shop in certain stores at certain times and whatnot. So the police who were violent, the government, the military who were actively violent, both in their words and in their actions, they were still in return non-violently protesting. In my head, what they always show you is like people marching, and been there, and I get it. There is definitely that. So I can see how that works. The overwhelming number of people just physically there marching, but also stuff like sit-ins and that kind of thing, not quite. I didn't having a visual, seeing it in this, like, really pushed it home, and I was just like, they got a lot of shit done non-violently, and it was just like, that slow determination, like water erode rock. And so I appreciate seeing that. I gave this 5 stars because what else was I giving it, right? Last book I'll talk about in this video is March Book 2 by John Lewis, Andrew Aiden, and Nate Powell. We're continuing the story of John Lewis's life, particularly within the civil rights movement, and here we're covering the time frame leading up to the march in Washington. So again, more detail, seeing how John Lewis wound up connecting with people like Martin Luther King, glimpse of Malcolm X in here, how the church really was the meeting place, the place that really pushed forward the movement. I definitely see why that doesn't work now. I mean, I knew why that doesn't work now, but I think I understand better why it worked before. I have to say also, in the first volume, we're kind of back and forth between back then and not present day exactly, but 2009 when Barack Obama, the first black president, was inaugurated, and John Lewis was obviously invited to be there. So that's how that story starts. We get more violent here. There's violence against freedom riders, people just riding buses into places. How the local governments, the governors, mayors, and things like that, just deputize any random ass white man who was wanting to do violence. How regular people would be cheering on their kids for attacking black people who were riding buses because to show that, they want to vote. That was the big thing in here was we're now starting to focus on getting black people to be allowed to vote. That was part of the whole March on Washington. See his impressions on then President Robert F. Kennedy, and I'm sorry, not Robert F. Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, and Robert Kennedy, who was the of state. Guys, I'm really bad with titles and names and dates. Like, the shuffle between all of these civil rights groups, because John Lewis doesn't have very great things to say about NAACP. And it definitely doesn't get better in book 3. I also gave this 5 stars. Definitely recommend the read. Reading this, while also reading 1619 Project, let me tell you, they supplement each other, bringing certain things into focus in different ways, and I appreciate that. Definitely want to read John Lewis's autobiography or biography and some other reference material there in the back. So that is the first half of the books I read in the month of April. What did you read? How did your reading go? I was only 3 manga for 30 and 30, and that's okay. They were great. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you are new. Hit the notification bell so you know when the next video is coming. Leave me a bus emoji for all those buses they blew up. For the Freedom Riders. Yes. Yes. In the March Volume 2 book. Yeah, I missed the live show for March. The book series that Realm of Comic Book Club. But yeah. It was just that I wasn't in a good place that day. Completely unrelated. But I started watching it and really enjoyed the discussion that I overheard. Links in the description, guys, to all of the things I've mentioned in this video, including the channels and links to my Storygraph and Goodreads if you'd like to be my friend on either of those. There's also my Twitter and Instagram if you'd like to follow me anywhere else. 10% off discount code to my Etsy shop where I make all natural bath and body products, and I offer tarot and oracle card readings as well there. And guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.